Hi everybody, Jim Cedar here again. I want to speak to you today a little bit about a particular region in the Rhone Valley that's gaining acclaim very, very rapidly, and that is the St. Joseph area, which is on the east bank of the Rhone River. I'm sure you're familiar with the wines from Hermitage Hill, from M.Chapoutier, Gigal, and others, and certainly they produce world-class wines. But many of these producers in the last 5 years or so have discovered what can come out of the St. Joseph area, and it's really impressive as to what's happening over there. Some of what's been discovered is actually related to geology, and without making this a geology lesson, the granite that underlies the Hermitage Hill that's so important there, they have found evidence that some of that granite is also over in the St. Joseph area, and the result of that is a production of some wines that have great minerality, just tremendous balance, just absolutely phenomenal wine. The soils there tend to be kind of a schist limestone, some silica, some granite in there as well, and you put all that together and you really have a truly fantastic wine. The climate in this area tends to be a continental climate, and that gives you a lot of variation between day and nighttime temperatures, which is very beneficial for grape ripening. As well, they benefit from what's called the Mistral, which are these very, very strong winds that come through there mid to late summer, often with winds of 70, 80, 90 miles an hour. And while you might think that would damage some vines occasionally, it also tends to dry them out and keep fungal rot at a minimum here. So very beneficial. The soils there, as I mentioned earlier, the limestone, schist, granite, they're poor soils, but they're porous and they're really great for the vines. They make the vines struggle, but those struggling vines produce absolutely outstanding grapes. We have two wines here today from two producers that I want to discuss with you. One of them I'm sure is very well known to you, and that is M.Chapoutier, who is just about the most passionate, audacious, and visionary man in the wine industry that you can ever imagine. He is terroir driven. He will describe himself as being a wine lover and a food lover, and he actually does his best to craft out his wines to specifically pair with food. What we have here is the Granits from the St. Joseph area. This is a wine that is mostly Marsanne. It comes from very good soils. He ferments these in kind of a mixture of both a 600-liter cask and vats as well. He ages it in about 10 months in barrel, and then a couple of months stirring the lees actually at the beginning. And the profile of this wine is just absolutely stunning. If you've never tried a Marsanne, you owe it to yourself to give a shot to it. We were at a restaurant recently up in Seattle, RN74, and had a Marsanne paired with a lobster pot pie that just knocked our socks off. It is just the most phenomenal wine. Try getting outside the world of Chardonnays and other whites and give a shot at a Marsanne. These are just wonderful. This particular wine from M.Chapoutier is mostly yellow, a little bit of green tinge to it, tends to be very floral and wonderful nuances of peach and pear, a little bit of kind of almond bitterness at the end, which is really wonderful. But one of the other things that you'll notice is this great minerality, and again, that comes from the granite soils. This is a wine, this vintage here, I would probably drink this now. These usually have maybe about 8 or 10 years worth of aging on them. But even better, if you can find the 2011, the 2010, it's well worthwhile resourcing out. It may run $60 or $70, but it's well worth having in your cellar, just an absolute superb wine. The other producer in his own right is absolutely top-notch, and that is Jean-Louis Chave. He comes from a family of producers that have been running this vineyard since the 15th, 16th century. Just a tremendous vintner. But what I have here are two of his very affordable wines, and it's the Offerus and the Silene. They come from what's called the Selection series that he has. These bottles here are a little bit older, and they're kind of coming to the end of their drinking window, but I want to make sure that you know about them. The Offerus has been around since 1995, is just a wonderful wine, and has a profile actually similar to the Silene, even though they come from slightly different vineyards, but they tend to have lots of blackberry, deep plum, smoke, tar, licorice, almost kind of an iron taste, sort of picking up at the end of the tasting. So these are really meaty, solid wines, and they are just great to pair with beef. The grape, as you might imagine, is Syrah. They're aged in about 18 months of 600-liter oak barrels. And again, a beefy, meaty wine. Again, I would drink this now, but if you have an opportunity to find the 2010, go after it. It won't be any more expensive. Again, they run $30, $32. Either one of these are fantastic. Again, the M.Chapoutier is an example of a white St. Joseph. These two from J.L. Chave are examples of the Syrah base, the reds. This is a region you should put on your radar screen. They are going to be producing phenomenal wines over the next, I'm convinced, the next 10, 20 years. Keep it on your radar screen, find some, drink it, and enjoy. I'll see you next time.